start recording our reading session, and I'm going to share our screen. And we're going to first watch a video about Mo Willems to learn a little bit more about this interesting man. And remember, this is a biography. Because we are reading about a specific person and his life, this is called a biography. Biographies are nonfiction texts. Hopefully this will work because my computer was being off. Right, thumbs up.
Meet Mo Willems.
Thumbs up if you can hear it.
Hello, my name is Mo Willems, and I make books.
We're good? Okay.
That means I write them, I draw them, I think about them, and hopefully you'll read them. I've been really lucky in my career. I get to do all kinds of interesting things. I've made animated films, I've written for television, I've written plays, I've had exhibits, but the thing that I love the most are books. And this is why I love books, because everything in a picture book is unique. Every picture book creator has their own style. They've got their own thing to say, their own way of saying it.
Hey Mo, how do you get ideas?
So I'm always thinking of ideas, and often they come when I don't expect them. I'm walking the dog, or I'm having a conversation or something, and suddenly this tiny seed speaks out and says, hey, maybe there's something here. So I go and I try and remember that seed, and I go to my notebook, and I put it in my notebook, and I play with it, and I sort of turn it around and stretch it, and take that idea, that little seed, and put it into different positions. And over the years, I have got tons of notebooks of ideas that I can then come back to and see if maybe one seed and another seed, if I put them together, I can make something new or something special.
How do the words in your books show what characters are feeling?
When I make a book, I see the words as a type of illustration. So when a character is really excited, really angry, I make sure that the words are really big. Or maybe I change their color or I change their direction. And if a character is really sad or they're whispering, I make those letters really, really small. Because what I am is I am a director. And you are my performer. I am trying to direct you to read the stories in the way that I intended. And so if I slant all the letters, make them italic, then you'll read them differently. If I make them super bold, you'll read them heavier. All those different things are techniques that I use so that I can manipulate you into doing what I want.
Do you ever make mistakes?
Do I ever make mistakes? Yeah, absolutely. I make mistakes all the time. A matter of fact, part of my job is to make mistakes so that every now and then one of those mistakes has a germ of something I wouldn't have thought of and it becomes something great. Making mistakes is the most important of the process.
Do you make your books all by yourself?
When you are an author-illustrator, when you are writing and drawing something, it is, in a sense, yours. You've created it. But there's always somebody helping you. There's my kid. There's my wife. There's my editor. There's my agent. There are my friends who are also writers. Sometimes we share each other's work and we give each other advice. So even if it just has my name on the cover, that doesn't mean that I'm the only person who was involved with that story.
How long does it take you to make a book?
So whatever book I'm working on right now, the ideas that I'm having, that I'm sharing with my editor, the sketches that I'm making, if you're in second grade right now, the soonest that that book would be finished, you would be in fourth grade. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of writing. It takes a lot of drawing. So the process takes years. Finishing a book is fun. It's cool. But it takes a while before the book is made because it has to go to the printer and there's technical stuff that has to happen. And then finally one day you get a box in the mail and there's the final book and it's in your hands and man, that feels really cool. But I tell you, for me, what feels the coolest is if I walk into a bookshop or I walk into a library or I'm just somewhere on the street and there's a real life kid reading one of my books and laughing. That is amazing. That is the best experience that I have ever had in my professional life.
Hey Mo, Mo, can kids be writers too?
Here's the thing. If you like to write, and you like to draw, and you like to make stories, you are a writer. You are an illustrator right now. That means that you have something to say. You have something to share. There's an audience out there that wants to hear what is uniquely you, what matters to you. And this is the time, while everybody else is, running around or at recess or playing video games or doing whatever, for you to be able to sit down and discover how to communicate your you-ness to the world outside. So I'm going to speak just to you right now. That illustrator, that cartoonist who's sitting there watching this with all the other classmates or at home or whatever you're doing, take your time. The days you don't feel like drawing, draw those days anyway, because there's something special in you that's going to come out of your pen or out of your pencil, and it's going to change the world.
That was a very interesting interview with Mo Williams. And I'm going to unmute you to see if you can tell me anything you learned about Mo Williams and being a writer and an illustrator. So does anybody want to share what you learned from that interview? Ethan?
Mo Williams makes mistakes.
That is exactly correct. He says he makes mistakes all the time. He even said making mistakes is a part of his job, because one of those mistakes that he makes is going to turn into something really cool. Michael, what did you learn about Mo Williams?
He doesn't illustrate and write by himself.
Okay, he is the author and illustrator. However, he has a lot of people that help him out, like his family and his agent and his editor and his friends. They all help him write those stories. Very nice. What else? One more thing that we learned about Mr. Mo Williams. What else did we learn about that man? Can anybody share one more thing?
Mo Williams.
Cora, what did you learn?
He is nice.
Yeah, I would say he's a very nice man. Listen to how he talked to you. He talked to you like you are already an author and an illustrator. He was supporting you. If you like to write and draw, he wants you to do it every day, because that's how he started out as well. All right, let's read the magazine. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to mute you all again so you can listen to the magazine. But as we read it, I want you to remember that this is a nonfiction biography. And anytime that you read nonfiction, you are looking for different nonfiction text features, because nonfiction text features help you learn more about what you're reading. So as we look at this magazine, take a notice. What do you see? What do you notice about these text features? What is trying to help us learn more about Mo Williams? Just wait for it to come up. Here it comes. This was the back page that we did. We'll go back. Okay.
Good work, Mo. How does Mo make a book? He has great work habits. 1. Mo takes his time. Mo made up the characters Elephant and Piggy. It took him a long time. He wanted 2 animals that were just right together. He drew a lot of pictures. He wrote down a lot of ideas. He did not rush. Finally, he had it. Elephant and Piggy were the perfect pair. 2. Mo knows mistakes are okay. Mo's books aren't perfect on the first try. He makes mistakes. That's okay. A pencil has an eraser for a reason, he says. You can erase a mistake and try again. Mo makes a lot of changes on each book. I make many drafts, he says. Here is a draft and the final page from his book a big guy took my ball. Draft. Final. 3. Mo doesn't give up. Mo wasn't always a famous author. His first book was Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. Mo sent it to book companies. No one wanted it. He didn't give up. He thought his book was good. Finally, after 2 years, someone published it. 4. Mo believes in himself. Mo thinks his stories are good. He thinks your stories are good too. He says that the stories you write are just as important as the ones he writes. There's no difference between what a first grader is doing and what I am doing, he says.
All right, so that was a lot of good information once again about our author and illustrator, Mo Willems. Now, before we read this, we talked about looking for nonfiction text features that help you learn more about what you're reading about. So did you notice anything in this magazine that is a nonfiction text feature? Please raise your hand if you did. Michael, what did you notice?
That Mo Willems takes his time and he doesn't give up.
Okay, so those were some good facts about Mo Willems, but let's talk about nonfiction text features. Do you see a nonfiction text feature, Michael?
That he's the photographs.
Yes. Yes.
Him.
Yep. So yes. So if you look at the photographs, they're showing Mo Willems at his computer and drawing, and that's showing that he takes his time and that he believes in himself. So photographs help us learn more. Very nice, Michael. Does anybody see another nonfiction text feature? Ethan?
Headings.
Okay, headings. So here's our large heading. Here's our title, Good Work, Mo. That heading tells us what this whole magazine is going to be about. Then we have 4 subheadings. These 4 subheadings are the main idea of each part of the magazine. So we know in this number 1 that we're going to learn all about him taking his time. We know that in number 2, we're going to learn about he makes mistakes. In number 3, we know we're going to learn about him not giving up. And in number 4, we know we're going to learn about him believing in himself. Because those are there, that helps our mind get ready to learn about the specific part of the topic we're learning about. And that is why authors put headings in nonfiction so that we understand exactly what we're reading about. Nice job, Ethan. Does anybody see another nonfiction text feature? Eliana? Can you please unmute yourself, please? Okay, Eliana, do you see another nonfiction text feature?
Photograph.
Yep, and that's what Michael said. We have photographs. But look over here, Eliana. Do you see the word draft and the word final? What are those called? Say it again.
Final draft.
But when they put the words by a picture, when they put a word next to it, what do we call that? What kind of nonfiction text feature is that? You forget? You will ask someone else. Who knows what that means if they're showing you what that picture is? What is that called? Cora, what is that called?
I forget.
Okay, if they want to tell us what this picture is, they're labeling it. So it's a label. So draft and final are nonfiction text features because they're telling us what these pictures are. They're telling us that this is a draft, and a draft is just the first writing he did, and this is the final draft, which means that it's final, it's ready to be published. Does anybody see any other nonfiction text features? What about characters, drafts, and published? What's that? Ethan, do you know? Like characters, drafts, and published. Why are those nonfiction text features? Can you unmute yourself, please?
They're bold print.
Yes, sir. Bold print is another nonfiction text feature. We know they're important because the author made them bold. We know that we need to understand what these words mean. All right, we're going to do the back page of our Scholastic News. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. Okay, let's see if I can make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, so here are 5 of Mo Willems' books. Our job is to put these titles in alphabetical order. When you put something in alphabetical order, it goes from A to Z. So you're going through the alphabet. The titles are Elephants Cannot Dance, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, Goldilocks and the Three Dinosaurs, Who is the Mystery Reader, Knuffle Bunny, and Leonardo the Terrible Monster. So we are looking at the first letter in the first word of each title. The first book in alphabetical order is Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. What would be the second book in alphabetical order? Eliana?
Elephant.
Yes, Elephants Cannot Dance would come next because of the E. Very good. What would be the next book in alphabetical order? Ellie?
Wait one second.
Okay.
Goldilocks and the Dinosaurs.
Yes, Goldilocks and the Three Dinosaurs would come next because of the G. So we have D, E, G. Now we have W, K, and L left. Which book would come next in alphabetical order? Ethan, you got to unmute yourself, please.
Leonardo the Terrible Monster.
Well, does K or L come first?
K.
K. So which one would come next?
What's happening over there?
It's Knuffle Bunny. Even though you can't hear the K, you only hear the N, the K is still first. So that's Knuffle Bunny. Okay, so which one would come after Knuffle Bunny? Michael?
Leonardo the Terrible Monster.
Very good. Leonardo the Terrible Monster. And then Nathan, which book would come last in alphabetical order?
The mystery.
Yeah, Who is the Mystery Reader? Because W is the last letter in the alphabet out of these books. Very good. All right, now, in the last session, we tried to play the game, but it would not load, but we will try. But before I show you the game, I'm gonna try my best to send out the login information for Scholastic News. So if you wanna go back and do the other videos and the other things on here, you can. There's a really cool drawing picture where you can draw the pigeon, so that's something fun to do. But let's see if the video works this time, or the game. Oh yay, it works. So we're sorting the books. Sort each book. Is it fiction or nonfiction? Remember, fiction is fake and nonfiction is real.
Sort the books. Sort each book. Is it fiction or nonfiction?
Okay, Don't Let the Pigeons Drive the Bus. Raise your hand. Is that fiction or nonfiction? Ellie? Can you unmute yourself, please?
Fiction.
Yes, ma'am. Very good. Okay. What about birds? Is that fiction or nonfiction? Ethan?
Nonfiction.
Very good. Ducklings? Would ducklings be fiction or nonfiction, Cora?
Nonfiction.
Very good. But what about the duckling gets a cookie? Michael, what would that be?
Fiction.
Fiction, very good. Okay, Nolan. Farm animals, would that be fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Very good. And then Eliana, what about I really like slop? Fiction, very good. Nathan, a big guy took my ball. Would that be fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
Fiction. So it's good. And then elephants. Cora, would that be fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
All right. That was a fun little game about fiction and nonfiction. So boys and girls, I'm going to stop the share and I will unmute everybody and I will stop the recording.